Hello, this is Miss Pat from Samuels Public Library with Science Scouts. Our topic this week is going to be shadows, and we're going to learn what makes a shadow and why the shadow is longer or shorter. So a shadow is a dark area or a shape produced by something coming in between the rays of light and a surface. And it could be a flashlight, the overhead light, the sun. And if you look at these people, they look tiny, but their shadows are huge. Okay, so let's find out why. So the shadow's length depends on where the sun is at different times of the day. It's very small when the sun is above the item, like this one. So you might notice in the middle of the day that the sun is right above you. Your shadow is very small. It looks like you're stepping on it. And it's very long when the sun is low to the ground, first thing in the morning or as the sun is going down. So the book we're going to read today is going to be Smoot, The Rebellious Shadow. Okay, and this is by Michelle Cuevas. We're going to find out about this little boy's shadow. Your shadow won't be able to do this. Those of you that have seen Peter Pan, you might recognize something there. Okay, but Smoot, the Rebellious Shadow. Okay, if life is a book, then Smoot the Shadow has been reading the same yawn-colored page for 7.5 years. And much like 2 pages in a book or 2 ripples in a brook, Smoot and his boy were inseparable. Every day they brushed the same teeth and frowned the same frown and drew the same pictures, always staying perfectly inside the lines. The boy never laughed. He never leaped. And he especially never did anything wild. So Smoot never did either. But shadows can dream, and when they do, the dreams are filled with color. Smoot dreamed of singing canary yellow songs, and he dreamed of doing a dance in wildflower red. One day, while wishing for sky blue colored freedom, Smoot heard a pop. He had come unstuck from the boy. This is my chance, thought Smoot. He packed a few things, some shade, some moonlight, a change of underpants, and he hit the road. Notice who's following him. Other shadows watched Smoot. The sight made them brave. If he can follow his dreams, we can too. First, a dandelion shadow blew away. The shocked flower watched from the ground. People who saw the flower shadow tried to guess what it was. It's a baby storm cloud. It's smoke from a dollhouse chimney. It's a butterfly made of mist. A cricket and a grasshopper had formed a band and were nervous about playing music in public. Their shadows, however, weren't nervous. The music they play sounded like cool shade on a hot afternoon. A frog that had read too many storybooks watched its shadow take the shape of a prince, complete with a cape and crown to croak about. A dragonfly that longed to breathe fire watched its shadow become a giant, fearsome dragon. Even a rock watched its shadow become a cathedral, and then a skyscraper, and finally a castle that reached the clouds. It was all great fun, but Smoot began to worry that things would get out of control. He imagined the shadows of zoo animals uncaged and roaming around town, or a blue whale shadow in the sky eclipsing the sun. But how does one herd wild shadows? A lasso? A net? Surely they'd slip through like sand. Nope, Smoot had a better idea. First, Smoot built a small castle of the one rock and his friends. Next, he convinced the frog to live inside it like a prince. And he told the dragonfly to guard the gates like a real dragon. Smoot sang lead vocals with the grasshopper and cricket so they wouldn't be so shy. He sang canary yellow songs, and he did a dance colored wildflower red. See who's still looking over here? Smoot found the dandelion, now turned fluffy white. He huffed and puffed until the seeds took to the air. "I'm flying," sang the flower. The shadows all decided to return. Their wishes had come true after all. Eventually, there was only one person who needed Smoot's help to rejoin his shadow. Luckily, it wasn't too hard. Smoot's boy had been watching all the excitement, and he wanted to be more like his shadow. So Smoot and the boy laughed and leaped, and together they acted quite wild. If life is a book, then Smoot the Shadow's page was now filled with singing, ringing, flying, vibrant, dancing colors. Okay, so while your shadows cannot come to life like Smoot did, we can make our shadows move. Right, so you can make shadows with your hands as long as you have a light behind them. You can either do it outside on a wall with the sun behind you or inside on a rainy day. Just by doing your hands, okay, depending on where the light is. Now, obviously here I don't have any wall behind me, so I can't do it here. But you can see in these pictures, this guy is making some sort of an animal. This one is a bunny rabbit. Here's a dog, looks like a crocodile. You can practice those and they'll move if you move your fingers and your hands. Now these ones won't move, but if you have the sun or any object outside, right, while the other ones could have been done mostly inside, these ones are outside and you can have somebody trace you with chalk while you're standing up. You can put your animals on paper and trace their shadows. What this person is doing is putting leaves and objects on paper. Now I know that today's thing was supposed to be Lego shadows. So if you have Legos, and I'm going to show you in a moment, if you have Legos, you can put Legos on paper, leave it outside in the sun, and it's going to leave a shadow print. Okay, so this is actually what we're going to do today. So my grandson took Legos and he put them on the paper. Okay, and he left it outside in the sun. So this was in between the paper and the sun. Okay, and the sun faded the rest of the paper and it left a shadow print. Okay, so this was the real color of the paper and the sun faded this, but this looks like a shadow because it's darker. Right? And this was from the little man. Now, we're not giving out Legos at the library, but if you have Legos at home, you can make up a whole kit with the Legos and see what kind of shadows you get. What we are going to give you is construction paper, 4 sheets, and a whole bag full of different shapes. Now, what you can do with them is place them on there. Now, I did tape them on there so that they didn't blow away. Please make sure that they don't blow away outside, otherwise you won't get your shadows. And leave it outside for a while. Okay, at least for one day. One day. If you leave it outside in the sun, it'll work. If you leave it in the house, in the window well, where the sun is coming in, it's going to take a couple of days because the windows have a filter on them so that stuff doesn't fade. But if you leave it outside for a little while, it's going to fade the paper and leave a shadow. So here I have the moon and a rocket ship. Okay, and like I said, you can put all kinds of different ones on here. There are about 12 different shapes that we have in a baggie for you to get with this. So we do have a limited supply. When you call up, put books on hold for our reading program and request one of the STEM kids, tell them you want the shadow one, and we'll send this out to you, okay? So, hope you have fun, hope you learned something, and next week we will have a new lesson. See you then.